Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live.
I just sorted my phone out.
I thought it was my hellos that you were laughing at there.
I was a little bit.
I always feel a bit awkward saying hello. I mean, how do you... Hello. But anyway, hello. How's it going?
That is botched, wasn't it? Do you know what? I'm underwhelmed. Look, I've got my golfing get up never on today. I was looking forward to the final round, and Scotty Scheffler's just ruined it for everybody by being so much
Being really
better.
good, exactly.
So yeah, bit disappointing, bit deflating. It's turned into an absolute procession. The guy just doesn't do anything wrong. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. 4 left.
Right, that's it. We're here to talk about football, obviously, and finally, after it feels like, well, it's been weeks and weeks, we've actually got some football to react to.
Yeah, it's all picking up now, isn't it?
Celtic, I was going to say a big win. It's obviously a pre-season friendly, but still, to beat Newcastle 4-0, quite an impressive scoreline.
Daniel, we've talked about this before, and what Celtic, did in the previous pre-season. They just build momentum, and they're taking big scalps. And yes, they only are pre-season matches, and I think Newcastle are probably a little bit behind in terms of where they are at physically right now. But it doesn't matter. Celtic still took 4 off them.
Aye. And it was the full, minus Isak, who wasn't there.
Yeah.
But it was the full Newcastle team.
So, these are always encouraging signs for Celtic, and it's sort of repeat behaviour, isn't it? This is just what they do, and they build up this bit of momentum, and by the time the real stuff starts, more often than not, they're the ones that hit the ground running. So yeah, there's still work to be done. Brendan Rodgers said after the game on Saturday, I'm quite enjoying just watching Brendan just now. I feel he's in full game mode in terms of his messaging, what he's saying, why he's saying it, how he says it. And I thought, again, after the game at the weekend, he couldn't have made it any more clear that, yes, all right, we've just beaten Newcastle 4-0, but there's a lot of work still to be done in this transfer window, just in case people upstairs are getting the idea that, maybe we're all hunky-dory. Brendan Rodgers doesn't think so. And, we keep coming back to it. It'll be fascinating to see what this transfer window looks like between now and when it closes, because he'll have his ideas on what he needs.
Aye. Does this make me really immature to say that I love when Scottish teams beat English teams? I really honestly love it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good because it just make, I bet they come up the road thinking we're going to scud them today. It's going to be 3 or 4, and it was the other way. It doesn't matter who the team is. Anytime a Scottish team beats an English team, I like it. Anyway,
even in pre-season games, we're just that petty.
We're just that petty. We'll take it. We've got comments coming in. If you want to get involved in the conversation, please file them into us. This one's come in already. Gianni says, hopefully Keith will apologise to me for his comments regarding my opinion on Steven Presley recently. And we will talk a little bit, I think, about Steven Presley.
What was his opinion?
I don't know, I've not got a clue. I don't think it was on here. It must have been in person, maybe.
No, it would have been. It's just nobody listens to you, Gianni. It's good that you're commenting and all that. Thanks for watching the show, but nobody actually takes you seriously, mate.
Aye, there you go, Gianni.
We'll
talk about Steven Presley, but I think for now, Celtic and Newcastle. One man who was at the game yesterday was Record Sports' Michael Gannon. I caught up with him a little bit earlier on to get his take on things.
Frank
the Tank was here. He made it back from his pre-season journey. Where has he been? Cork, Portugal.
Yeah,
he's made it back in one piece.
Next stop, Como.
Should we hear what he had to say?
Must we?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not? Joined now on the Hotline Live by Record Sports' Michael Gannon. Mick, you were at Celtic Park yesterday, and as seems to be the way at this time of year, Celtic just disposed of another Premier League team.
Yes. I think I speak to you, Dan, more. I speak to my own wife these days.
Lucky you.
I get less grief right enough from yourself, so it's not too bad. I was at Parkhead yesterday for the Newcastle game. I think Celtic seem to have a nice habit of scudding English teams, don't they? There was at Chelsea, Man City last year. I remember Sunderland getting whipped for 5 at one point.
That's right.
There's been a few over the years. I think I quite enjoy these kind of cross-border kind of bounce games. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, you got to put the kind of caveat that Newcastle were probably a week behind in their training preparations, and apparently they'd been in Austria and get flogged for a week, their camp. So they looked a wee bit leggy. I think you could tell they weren't quite at it at times, especially towards the end of each half. But however, it's still a really strong English Premier League team who are trying to build towards their season. And Celtic were good. I mean, to weather a kind of first 20 minutes when Newcastle had a lot of the ball and to defend, but it looked quite obvious fairly early on that Celtic were causing real problems in the break. I think Dyson Maeda was unplayable as always. I thought Yang, the other side, was a real threat as well.
Aye, a really good game, man.
Up front, holding the ball up, buying fouls and all that as well. Middle of the park worked really well. And Celtic kind of got to grips with Newcastle and kind of done a job on them. Scored some good goals. It was just a really kind of impressive pre-season performance. I mean, you got to take it with a pinch of salt, some of the games in pre-season, but Celtic tend to take these games quite seriously. They want that kind of intensity. We've seen it last year in America. And I think I've mentioned it a few times that the guys that were watching Chelsea and Man City were like, do these guys know that's a friendly? There's almost like, I was like, tell them to calm down. This is a friendly game. but Celtic treated it as a kind of dry run for kind of Europe and the season ahead. It's worked well for them. It's helped gain them momentum. And they got it. To beat Newcastle 4-0, it's got a major confidence boost. We've seen it last year. They beat Chelsea 3. Yep. You can see the kind of spring in the step from that afterwards, and I think you get the same again. I think the thing as well is that Celtic are still quite a good bit off having their full team assembled, and they still produce a performance like that. And I think I said before, like Celtic fans can get a bit nervy in pre-season. They get worried about signings and transfers and who's coming in and who's leaving. They get a bit grumpy. I don't know if it's kind of absence making the heart grow angrier with the goals missing. And they get a bit tetchy. And these two games against Sporting Lisbon and Newcastle, I think they'll get a wee reminder that, by the way, there's some right good players in this team already. Yeah. And they're going to get help with the 2 or 3 coming in, or 3 or 4 coming in. So they're decent enough shape just now. Just need to get a move on in terms of signings.
We mentioned this in the... Can you hear me still, Mick?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We mentioned this in the Celtic pod, but the 2 players that I thought really stood out were Austin Trusty and Inamura again. And Trusty is one that I think he could have a big season ahead. I know he maybe was quite inconsistent last season, big price tag by Scottish football terms, but I think he could be, the long-term partner for Carter Vickers. Well,
there's a player in there. I think the problem he's got is consistency. I think on his day, he's a very good centre-half, but good ball-playing centre-half. The funny thing is, I don't know if it's concentration with him. The harder the game, the better he seems to perform, I think. Yeah. He seems a bit more switched on. So I don't know if you give him a set of earphones and have the Champions League theme tune playing out in the dressing room before the game against St John's. I guess others are playing it in St John's, but against teams in the SPFL. He was good. I mean, I saw him in Cork last week. Was it last week? I'm losing track of the days now. And he was terrible, right? He was absolutely brutal. Just really not good. Not good. So I'm saying Austin Rusty. But he's but against Newcastle, he was really switched on. I thought he would get it. He had a few moments when he looked a bit hear him scare him. But by and large, I thought he really did a really good game. He might get man of the match. He was really on it. I say even when he did things wrong, he actually did quite well, man. And he picked up a booking, and a friendly was always good going for a kind of very cynical challenge in his own half. But it was a good challenge that if you made that in Europe, your boss would be high-fiving you because Newcastle are away in the break. So no, he was good. I thought he was good. And I think it's just all about him now. It's just getting consistency, trying to maintain that level every week because there is times it dropped off last season. I think St Johnstone away, Dundee, there were certain games that he did drop off, and he was left out of big games against Rangers, Cup final. He's also had things in the background. And I think his partner had a baby last year, which is always difficult. Anyone who's had a baby around, it's not easy. Sleepless nights and panicking, all the stress that brings. So yeah, you got to give him a bit of leeway. So yeah, I think he's got definitely potential to be all right. Just needs to do it on a weekly basis. Inamura has been in the surprise package, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been the guy that his bags were packed before he even landed, I think, the sound of things, for a loan deal, but he's kind of surprised folk with his first initial displays. And then this was a good test for him to see how he coped. I watched him closely for about 10-15 minutes. He's up against Jacob Murphy, an experienced Premier League winger, 300-odd games, I think, in that level. I thought, wonder how he gets on here. And I thought he'd done okay defensively. I thought with him going forward, I thought he was really good. I thought very good composing the ball, cool, plays his head up. But I thought even defensively, he had a few moments when he was in a bit of bother. but he did a lot of things, a lot of last gas tackles and a few blocks and all that. And I thought, you know what, there's something there to work with.
Right.
Whether or not he's going to be the kind of save Rodgers, Steven Rodgers buying another left back in to back up Kieran Tierney, I don't know at this point in time. I think you need to give him more time to find out how he copes. I've been inclined to hold off now buying a left back. I'd maybe give him the start of the season because he will play time, because I'd imagine Kieran Tierney's still going to build up the fitness. He might play 60, 70 minutes some weeks for a few weeks yet, so you'll get minutes in the pitch. So let's see how he copes against it, running for 20 minutes in Flag Day. Let's see how he copes in other games. And if you get towards that end of that window, you might think, right, this might save us having to go and get another left back. If not, that's something they can address near the time. Because you get to a point is that European qualifier end of August. Kieran Tierney is one of the first names in the team sheet if he's fully fit. You can't keep assuming he's going to be not fit. You have to assume he's going to be fit at some point. But you never know. And again, you might get to a point after an hour, he's got to come off. You need to have somebody that can come on there and you can trust to see that game. That's the biggest game of the season.
Yeah.
At that point. So, at this point in time, I think Inamura is surprising people, including his manager, and he's given himself a right good chance. So we'll wait and see how it goes. But he's been definitely a bit of a kind of surprise success so far in pre-season.
And just very finally, Mick, before I let you go, talked about left back, but where else do you see Celtic prioritising between now and end of the window? Striker, right wing?
But both, I mean, pretty obvious. I think both flanks, two wingers and a striker, I think are still the top of the list for Brendan Rodgers. I think he needs. I mean, he's got obviously Yamada come in the last few days. Kind of sounds a bit more like a kind of, again, development, take a punt on him kind of guy. He might not be. He might hit the ground running and be a goal scorer and right away, so that would be a bonus. But I still think Brendan Rodgers would want a more tried and tested kind of. Listen, Celtic players, Celtic rivals are all at some point a development player. None of them are a finished article, but I think you want somebody in further along the developmental road.
Yeah.
Like your Benjamin Negrin, who came in, have had 200 games across Europe and capped by his country. Like a Nicholas Kuhn, who's played in 2 different leagues and played 150 games. That kind of somebody who's further along the developmental path, I think you'll want. And I think that's what they'll get. I still think they'll spend money in the next 2 or 3 weeks in the window. I would expect them to spend about 20 million quid, perhaps on 3 players. That's my prediction. Who they are is the question, because they're going down up and down the list at the moment and trying to get them in the door. But it's, I still think they will do that. It's more a question of now when, because this qualifier, the league's starting, I think, is important because I think they are short. I mean, they're not getting. I mean, they've got, what is it, Forrest, Yang, and Maida as their only wide players. I thought all 3 have been decent pre-season, but there's a lot to put on their shoulders up front. We need to see how Yamada gets on, but I think they need to come in pretty soon. At least one winger pronto, another one before the window shuts, and I think another striker. If they can get another left back if need be, then fair enough. I don't think centre half's a big pressing issue. But if one comes up on loan, maybe they might take somebody in on loan with a view to buy in next year or something like that. That could be an issue. But yeah, those two wingers and a striker are an absolute must to start with.
Mick, it's always an absolute pleasure having you in the Hotline Live. Thanks very much, and enjoy your trip to Como.
No worries, I'll wait to iron my pants to get another take on the road again. Fill my bag to go to Como. Yeah,
nice one. Thanks, Mick. Michael Gannon there.
It's good, isn't it? It's good value, Mick.
We've got some comments coming in thick and fast. If you want to get involved, please do so. Thomas Burns says, Inamura, he's your Japanese Maldini. William says, think Mick is spot on. Inamura might not be a starter, but neither is he alone. Kaiser points out Dane Murray is real quality, in my opinion. Fantastic potential. And I should say, I was watching it yesterday, I was taken aback by how big Dane Murray is now. He's clearly been hitting the weights. And
bulked up.
I go back to, I know a lot of people have been saying that, listen, a centre half's needed this. I think Rodgers might go with Dane Murray, Trusty, Carter Vickers, Scales. Do you think you'd be happy with that? No.
Look, if you're trying to second guess Brendan Rodgers, I think he takes a view that here's my starting 11. Where can it be improved? How can it be improved? And I think the left-sided centre half is an area which isn't as strong as his right-sided centre half.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So, of all the options he's got in there, I think if he could find a mirror version of Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think that would be something he'd want to look at. He's just going to try and make improvements in specific areas of the pitch That's what it's all about for Brendan Rodgers. What can I tweak just to get, another 10% added value into this team? And I think left-sided centre-half would be an area that, if he got in an ideal world, he would look to improve it. As you said, maybe Trusty is the answer. Maybe he gets a full season. Maybe, and we've seen, how often have we mentioned Brendan Rodgers' ability to improve players by working with them and, sprinkling a little bit of his magic dust on them. So Trusty could be that next guy. Scales come on leaps and bounds under Brendan Rodgers. But is that an area that could be improved? I think it probably is. I think Mick's right. Probably need a couple of wingers. Maybe one of them will come on in loan because, Jota's going to be back after the turn of the year. So maybe they go and get one on loan and get one in on a more permanent basis and a striker. So, there is much still to do, and that's why Brendan Rodgers keeps on banging that drum.
Well, Kaiser says in the comments, he says, think we'll smash our transfer record this window. Also still to bring a left-back cover, 2 right wingers and a left winger, a serious partner for Carter Vickers, and the bulk of the money will be spent on a striker. Now, look, I completely agree with Mick, and I think we've agreed as well. I think Celtic will spend significant money. There's no doubt about that between now and whenever.
They've already spent a couple of quid,
aye, of course. But see the lists of positions that Kaiser mentions. Surely they're not going to a left back, a centre half, 2 wingers, a striker. That would feel a lot to get done to me, to be honest, between now and the end of the window.
Well, I've just said that a centre back, 2 wingers.
To be fair, I know.
And a striker.
Aye.
So I think that is
so.
What's required. I'm not. Maybe Anamura is the answer, and maybe he's of better quality than Brendan Rodgers expected him to be. And by the sounds of it, everyone seems to be really impressed by him from the glimpses that we've seen thus far. So maybe he's played his way in to be that Kieran Tierney understudy on the left-hand side. And also, if he does come on leaps and bounds, if he progresses, maybe he'll become the option at left-side centre-half. But listen, you only need to listen to Brendan Rodgers, the messaging, what he's saying, when he's saying, how he's saying it, to get a grasp on he feels that if he wants to, if Celtic are going to move forward this summer, he needs to make 3 or 4, valued additions to the squad.
Falconhoof says, if Brendan signs a £10 million plus player this window, that's a big statement. Do you think that? I mean, it's obviously possible, but what's your gut feeling? Do you think that will happen?
I think if Brendan Rodgers will want it to happen. I mean, look, I don't think you need to put a number on it.
Aye.
It doesn't need to be more than 10 million. It doesn't need to be more than Torrey Andre Flo.
It just needs to be the right player.
It just needs to be the right player. Now, they come at a premium, especially strikers. So you'll be looking in that ballpark. And I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers is. I'm sure he's kind of examining all options right now and encouraging the board to go after one or two of the guys that will be on near the top of his list.
So, I guess time will tell with Celtic.
It is. I keep saying it's a watching brief right now.
Aye.
And again, is it a 2-tier policy? I strongly suspect it will be. If it's not, there's going to be problems ahead.
It's going to be fascinating. I feel like we've been talking about the similar things the last couple of weeks, but I just really think I want the season to start.
It's almost there, Dan.
It's almost there.
What is it now? 2 weeks away?
Aye, 2 weeks yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Right, some of the more comments coming in. Big Rab says we need a centre-back, 2-3 wingers, depending on where Maida is to be used. Maybe a striker if the right one is available. Hoopsaholic says, think we need a more defensive-minded understudy to Calmac. Joe says, I don't think we need left-back to cover for KT. Inamura's never a centre-back. Lacks physicality. Left-back's preferred position, unless it's a young Scottish left-back to meet the home-grown rule. Sorry, just before we move on from Celtic, Keith, just want someone else in the comments mentioned this. I would, just my personal opinion, I don't think there's much chance now, regardless of the offer, of another big exit like Maeda, Hatate.
I think Hatate, that one for me,
it's still got legs.
It's still in play.
Aye.
Yeah.
I just think I think because they sold Kuhn, I think they might go, we're not having 2 big exits this summer.
Well, that's going to depend on where Hatate's head is at now. I think there's been some very positive noises coming out, hasn't there? I think, and he's certainly looked impressive early doors in the pre-season. He's got a couple of goals in these pre-season matches. So maybe he's in a happier place than he was 6 months ago. And so if he is, then I would agree. I don't think, certainly people will worry all the way up to the window closing, is somebody going to come in and put an offer on the table for Maida? And what does Celtic do if the number's big?
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. I think Maida is settled, happy. He's slotted straight back in. Looks as if he's not missed a beat. I see him doing press-ups after coming off the pitch.
I know.
That
was mad,
the guy's crazy.
I know.
Fitness fanatic, and he looks as if he's ready to tear it up again this season. Was it the weekend? He set up a goal. Was it for Yang?
Yeah, think so. Yeah.
And it was terrific play down the left-hand side,
down the left,
and it was a great ball in, and it was the thing that we used to criticise Maida for, that final ball, that once he gets into the penalty box, can he pick out the pass, can he shoot, can he, that was the quality that was missing from his game, and it was why, and we laughed about it saying, well, if he could score and assist,
he would have been Scotland.
Yeah, and now he's added that to his game, another guy that's benefited from working with Brendan Rodgers. He's come on leaps and bounds. He's a far more composed, clinical side to what he does in the final third now than even just a couple of years ago under Ange Postecoglou. So, but do I think, look, somebody could come in, because why wouldn't you? But I don't think Celtic will be any rush, and I don't think he critically is in any rush to leave Celtic.
Stephen says you've made his Sunday and he loves your top. So
thanks, man.
there you go. I'm moving across Glasgow.
Where's Johnny?
Johnny's not come back yet.
Danny to offer him an apology.
I was going to say,
Johnny, we do care about your
Johnny,
opinion.
come back, Johnny.
Care about your pizzas.
Well, I've not tried them yet.
They're
but
very good.
Anyway. Cross Glasgow, Rangers. They had a behind closed door friendly yesterday with Hamilton, and the one man who is kind of standing out a little bit this pre-season is Denilo.
Yeah, I know.
Scored again. I have to be honest, I didn't think we'd ever really hear of Denilo as being a serious Rangers player.
Well, if Inamura has developed as the sort of
exactly
unexpected bonus to Celtic's pre-season, Denilo, by the sounds of it, certainly appears to be the unexpected bonus across the city. And by the way, how fortunate is that? Because strikers don't grow on trees. We all know how difficult it's been for Rangers. Dessers, I think, did a really good job last season. His numbers were good, but he's a frustrating guy, a guy that frustrates the fans because he misses more than he scores. Denilo is certainly, I think, a more clinical finisher than Dessers. But he's just looked off it, hasn't he? And, he's physically not been up to it. His body keeps breaking down on him. He's just looked a bit like an awkward fit, a guy that's kept around in reserve just in case everybody else falls over through the week. Yeah, there's a spare guy here. Denilo can fill that position when he's fit. But all of a sudden, the sort of mood music around it, I think he set up a few in one of the bounce games. I think he scored 2 against Hamilton yesterday. All of a sudden, he looks as if he's playing his way right into contention under Russell Martin.
Seems that way.
And I think with Denilo, that the Rangers fans will be hoping for a pleasant surprise, because from what you've seen thus far of him, there's something there, but it's never really looked like fully coming together for him. And it looked as if, do you know what, he's just one of these guys they'll look to move on. But if it all clicks into place for him, maybe he's really enjoying the style of football that Russell Martin has got the team playing. Maybe he just fits. My guys in Holland that I speak to, they really rated Denilo before he came.
I was going to say that. He was a highly rated player. And I know it's not the be-all and end-all, but I remember a colleague of ours speaking to someone in Holland, and they said that they couldn't believe the wages that Danilo's on at Rangers. I think he's a very highly paid player for Rangers standards.
It was a big financial deal all in, wasn't
exactly.
it? The transfer fee as well.
So I think Rangers did have high hopes for him.
Yeah, but it just, in that shambolic Michael Beale, was it Michael Beale?
It was Michael Beale,
Well, they bought Dessers one day and Denilo the next. You're going, what are they doing?
What's the strategy here?
So, and maybe part of that has led to the confusion, and Danilo's obviously been really unfortunate with injuries. But if he's back and he's at his level, and you could see from some of the pictures and footage from the pre-season training that Rangers have been doing, he looks as if he's been working really hard on the physical aspects. You know, there's bits where he's, you know, absolutely blown. Look, I think it's one to watch. I tell you what, nobody would have expected just a few weeks ago would be for Rangers to go into this Panathinaikos game thinking it looks more than likely that Denilo will be leading the line with Dessers and Hamza Igaman on the bench behind him.
Well, Dave says, mind it was only Hamilton he played. Take that into account, obviously. And John says, let's see how Denilo does against real opposition like Panathinaikos instead of mediocre teams like Hamilton and Dunfermline. All fair points, obviously. And I think we can maybe look at the Rangers team that started yesterday's game against Hamilton because, as you say, it's more than likely going to be the Rangers team that starts on Tuesday. The font's a wee bit small there, but as you can see, Butland in goals, Tavernier and Giga.
Giga and
Suter and Aaron's at left back. You've got Rothwell, Diamande, Raskin in the middle. Finlay, Curtis and Denilo and Dowell was the front three yesterday.
Yeah.
So
there could be room for changes at the top end.
Gassama played the second half. Asgard's still injured, obviously.
I think Gassama getting a bit of game time. There's a lot of excitement around him.
Yeah.
You'd think that they might try and get him into that team someplace, whether it's a Finlay Curtis or Kieran Dowell would perhaps drop out of that. Obviously, Asgard doesn't look as if he's going to be fit for Tuesday night, which will be a blow to Rangers because I think they're quite excited about him as well. I think if Gassama is anywhere near it in terms of his fitness and you know how he's assimilated with the group, I'm pretty sure that Russell Martin would be keen to try and get him into that starting 11. So there could be room for change. And who knows? Just spent 5 minutes talking about Denilo. Would it be the biggest surprise in the world if Hamza Igaman or Dessers come in and started that game because of the importance of it?
Aye.
It wouldn't be.
Aye.
But Russell Martin clearly likes what he sees from Denilo so far this summer. So right now it feels as if that number 9 shirt is his to lose.
I know we'll talk a lot about the Panathinaikos game between now and then. We've got a few comments coming in on it. Scott says Dowell has to be a joke. I don't see how he starts. I just wanted to pick up on that because basically what I'm trying to ask is, I know it's hugely important for Rangers if they make it into the Champions League. We all know what it brings, but how realistic is it to say to Russell Martin, look, we want you to get by Panathinaikos and 2 other two-legged rounds with, no disrespect, you know, Kieran Dowell still starting and players like him that we've looked at and have thought probably aren't Rangers quality. Yeah,
I've written a column about this tomorrow, which you probably talk about it tomorrow night, but it is it. I feel a little bit sorry for Russell Martin on the basis that I think he's come into this job knowing, and I think it would be fair enough to say that you know not everybody really wanted him in terms of the Rangers board. It was an appointment which I think underwhelmed kind of a big element of the Rangers fan base. In fact, you could say a mixed reaction. Some people were raging about it, and some people were so against it that they were ready to rip up their season ticket. So he's coming in it with that context that he's got a bit to prove, he's got a lot to prove to win them over. It's worse than that because Rangers have gone so long now without, you know, winning stuff routinely. Trophies are sporadic. One title in the past 14 seasons. So already, whether it was Russell Martin or anybody else, whoever was coming into that job, patience is running thin in the ground because the Rangers supporters, they back their club, they go week after week, they spend fortunes. They are right to expect something better than what they've been getting. But that again feeds into this climate where is Russell Martin going to get the time that he needs? I think he needs a bit of time and a bit of patience. And I you know what I was saying towards the end of last season, Daniel, these Rangers have started their preparations for this season way too late. So I really do think he's already up against it in terms of trying to get past Panathinaikos and then another 2 rounds. I don't think it's a disaster for Rangers to get into the Europa League.
No, I'd agree with that.
I think that's probably a good place for them to be this season in terms of they need a bit of time to grow as well. I just think Rangers fans will want everything yesterday, and understandably so, because they've had to suffer so much over the last while. They've seen new owners coming in. They were a bit underwhelmed that Russell Martin got the job. I hope that they're prepared to give him cut him a bit of slack and give him a bit of time, because he'll need to breathe and grow into this job. But, you know, they booed out his team off the pitch 45 minutes into the first bounce game of the season against Bruges.
No.
And I think Russell Martin is a smart guy. He'll not need anybody to take him to one side and say, look, guys, this could get a little bit fraught here.
No.
He'll understand the environment.
No.
And he took it on, and fair play to him for that. But yeah, I think things could get a little bit hot if Rangers have a difficult couple of games against Panathinaikos and it goes wrong for Russell Martin. I think he's going to start the season, you know, loosening off his collar, because the heat will be on.
In the comments, Cliff says Danilo's super unlucky with injuries. Definitely a player. Rangers strong up front if Dessers and Igaman remain. He says defence is an issue, need a new left back and a new keeper. We were saying off air that if it looks like Max Aarons could be considered a left back, him and Yefty might be the two left backs.
Yep.
A few people asking about Connor Cody as well. Obviously we talked a lot about him last week, but no news on that front, it looks like, still.
No, it's just that one appears... Leicester have placed that one on pause. And I'm afraid that Connor Cody and Rangers are just going to wait for them to take the finger off that button. What's also interesting is Dujon Sterling and where he features. He's been left out of the European squad. I'm guessing it must be injury
I think he is
related.
injured, aye.
But when he's back, he's an option. And he's an option whether you're looking for a central defender, whether you're looking for a right back. He's played left back, and he plays, you know, he's played so many different positions. Another option, defensive-minded midfielder. So I think he might have a big part to play as well once he gets himself back up and running and back up to speed.
I said this to you off air, but I think that, or I thought that Sterling would have been the next, and I might get stick for this, but the next Bassey. I think honestly could have been a £15 million exit. I thought when he first came in, I thought he was an absolute tank, he can play in 3 or 4 positions.
I think there's a real player in there.
I think when he gets fit again, he could have a big season.
And I think as well, the way that Russell Martin likes the game to be played, I think that should fit into Dujon. You know, that should be Dujon Sterling should be rubbing his hands at it, because it is high intensity, it's pace,
It'll suit him.
Yeah, I think he's a player that would fit very nicely into a Russell Martin side. In what position, that's yet to be determined. But I think he's certainly a good option for them. And maybe, you know, we're talking about Rangers and centre halves, and you know the numbers just now. The numbers, if Connor Cody was to come in, they'd have 4 because Suter's still there.
Yeah.
If Suter goes and Connor Cody doesn't come in, then they're thin on the ground there.
Right.
And they've got Giga from Wolves on loan for a season, and they've got Fernandez, who looks as if he's a young player with a lot of learning to do. So Sterling perhaps comes into that pool of players in there and could be an option for them.
Who knows?
Who
We'll
knows?
see. Hugh, now this is away from Celtic and Rangers. Hugh says, when do we predict Steven Presley will get his jotters? I'll go for the traditional Blackpool weekend of late September. Now, we haven't even started the season yet. He's had 2 cup games,
Yeah.
Steven Presley. But 2 defeats. And yesterday, obviously, as Dundee said, lost 1-0 away at Arbroath.
Alloa.
It was Arbroath the first game. Not a good result, obviously.
Airdrie, the first game. You're
Was
having a shocker.
Who was playing that? Anyway, we'll move on for that. If we can edit that out of the podcast, that would be great.
Anything beginning with an A, really.
I bet it's not going great for him, is it?
The optics are terrible. Look, cards on the table here. I'm an admirer of Big Elvis. I've known him a long time. Do you know something about Big Elvis, right? Here's the thing. I know how he comes across in the interviews, and I know he seems, you know, people say he's monotone, very studious, takes himself a bit seriously. He's actually not like this. He's not that character. And I can understand the character that people see. I wonder if they look and go, well, how's that working a dressing room? And I totally get that. But he's not that guy. He's not the guy that people see him as. He's certainly a deep thinker. He's a lot more light-hearted than he likes to show, I think, as well. I think players will want him. I just feel this didn't hold Dundee thing, as the optics have been bad from the start. Sacked Tony Dock for God knows why, given that he's 2 seasons into the job and Dundee were progressing. Yes, they were hemorrhaging goals last season, which wasn't great, and it dragged them into the sort of issues at the bottom of the table. But Tony Docherty would have been shocked by that decision. Everybody was a little bit taken by surprise. And it seems then that after the event, we learned that the reason for the dismissal was that John Nelms, the owner, thinks Dundee should be regular top 6 finishers. And that by even flirting with the idea of relegation, that was something that he's not prepared to tolerate. That would have come as a surprise as well to Tony Docherty, who I don't think that was his remit, or that he was told that was the demands of his role. Where Steven Presley has got an advantage is that at least he's gone into this job with his eyes wide open. He will have been told that that's what the owner is hoping to achieve. He'll have been told what the budget is going to look like, and then it's up to him. Do you think working with this budget and these tools that you can deliver on getting Dundee into the top 6? He clearly believes that he can. But where are the players?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Paul there in the comments
because
says...
he has mentioned, over and over that he needs to get some new faces in the door. Paul saying, the results would indicate that's exactly right.
Paul saying Dundee fans are going nuts, and if you have a look at some of the pages, particularly on X, they are. But a lot of it is directed, as far as I can see it, at Nelms. It's not so much Presley yet, but it's like, okay, you want top 6? He's a top 6 team.
Yeah, well, look, there's an element of that, and Elvis probably didn't help himself with if you want to win games of football and qualify into the next round of
I'm not your man.
The Premiership Cup, I'm not your man. So, look, it'll be interesting. I think, and I can totally understand why Dundee fans are jumping up and down right now. But like the Russell Martin situation at Rangers, I hope that they can afford them a little bit of patience, a little bit of time, because I think Steven Presley could be a surprise package.
Aye.
And it certainly would be a surprise package now, given the first 2 results that he's had in these summer games. The optics, as I said at the start, Daniel, it's hard to imagine how they could be any worse right now. But I think there's a plan there. I'm pretty sure that he's got a good idea of what it is that he's trying to achieve. Needs some help from the guys that appointed him in terms of putting it together in the transfer market. But you know something? I just get this weird feeling that we might be looking back in a few months and going, wow, we didn't see that happening. And Steven Presley might get a tune out of Dundee, but he's going to need a bit of time, and I understand. I mean, people are saying he could be the first manager in history to be sacked before the season starts.
It'd be crazy.
It would be crazy. And so everybody just needs to calm down a little bit.
Aye.
And let's see what Dundee look like once he's been able to recruit properly.
Yeah, once he's got his team together.
Yeah.
Sing the Blues says Dundee should never have sacked Tony Dock. He says there'll be relegation for them now, but I guess we'll see. Aside from Dundee, elsewhere in the Premiership, I want to know, Keith, how many points Hearts are going to win the title by next season. 3 4-0 victories in a row in the Premier Sports Cup.
Well, 4-1 against Dunfermline.
Oh, jeez, I'm on fire today, aren't I?
Yeah. You're a bit sketchy in the details today, mate.
3 wins with 4 goals so far in the Premier Sports Cup. They look brilliant so far, Hearts. Braga looks like one of these early Jamestown Analytics finds.
Yeah.
He looks like a really proper striker.
The Hearts fans are all over the guy, aren't they?
His header yesterday was brilliant. Only down point with Braga is, do you know what he does in that Ronaldo celebration?
Does he?
Does the whole jump and all that. And
that should get kicked out of him.
Bit cringy. A wee bit cringy. But, I mean, Quinny there saying Hearts are my shout for second this season. They do look pretty formidable at the minute. I get they've not really played anyone of great substance yet, but...
Look, it's like we said with Celtic in these pre-season games. Celtic have mastered the art of building momentum in these friendlies and over the course of a summer to get everything right so they're ready to go at the start of the season. I feel something similar is happening at Hearts. Obviously, they're not friendlies, they're the League Cup games. But there is momentum building. What's happened?
Sorry, Gianni's come back, but I'll let you finish, sorry.
I think there's a bit of momentum building under Derek McInnes.
Yeah.
And I think that bodes really well. They don't have the European football distraction to sidetrack them or to exhaust them or to jam up the schedule early doors in the campaign. They've just got a chance to put a stretch of results together, come right out the traps early doors and set the tone for the season. And I think that's what we're going to get from Hearts. And I'm really excited by it because you know what that stadium's like. If this is a good, strong, credible Hearts outfit, and I fully expect it's going to be that, the fans will get really engaged with it, and that place will become, a real fortress and a real exciting place to go.
Everything's there at Hearts for them to...
I think everyone's there for Hearts, yeah.
Gianni writes back saying he was out for a few Morettis with Singing the Blues and Rangers Easy OK last night, and they recall your praise of Elvis. We'll need to watch back the shows to see the comment again. So there you go.
I still don't know what I said.
I don't know either. I don't really remember. And look, I'll stick my neck in the line. I still think he'll be a success at Dundee. I think it's going to be tough. It's obviously a rocky start, but if he gets...
What's the phrase that I keep using with Rangers?
Go on.
It's probably going to get a little bit worse before it gets any better, and I think Dundee and Steven Presley come into that same category.
But crucially, it will get better.
I think so. Fingers crossed for Dundee and for Steven Presley.
Fingers crossed, aye. I think that more or less brings us to the end of Sunday's Hotline Live with Record Sport. Thank you so much for all the comments. We actually got a lot of comments in there asking us for predictions for Rangers Panathinaikos on Tuesday. But given we've got a show in between now and then, we can maybe have a little bit more time to think it over.
Tomorrow night,
I think so. Tomorrow night we'll be back at 6 p.m. Hope you can join us then.
Oh, by the way,
go on.
You should really say we're going to do a late night Hotline Live special after the Rangers game on Tuesday, aren't we?
Tuesday night, 10 p.m. following Rangers Panathinaikos. There's no point in doing it at 6 because nothing will have happened by then. So 10 p.m. we'll be there, and we hope you can join us then. And as I said before, then we'll be back at 6 p.m. tomorrow.